Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. Today we're making this fun thing. Let's dive in. This is a project I don't expect anyone to try and duplicate. This is just kind of a fun, different thing. And I really want to encourage people to experiment, to reach out, try new things, and do something that is not traditional, something that is not standard. And so we're going to be taking this watch and making a little display stand for it. And this display stand is going to have a lot of meaning to Luke and Krista, who it's for. And we're just going to experiment with it. Now, the first thing we know we want is we want a base with 10 sides on it because this is their 10th anniversary. So we need to figure out how big should this be. So Luke said, I want it to be about that big. And I drew a circle. And then we start doing the maths thing. Trying to come up with a 10-sided circle was a bit confusing until I realized, wait a second. A 10-sided circle is just two pentagons. And if I put two pentagons where the point is one of them is halfway between 2 points of the other one, and then I connect all the points, and then that makes us there are plenty of good YouTube videos on how to draw a pentagon, and there are plenty of good YouTube videos that I would just say go look at those because there are better ways to do it. But once you actually get the math down and figure out, oh, this is the radius for a pentagon, then all I need to do is subdivide the circle and create one that will create another pentagon, but rotated. And the nice thing about this, because the top and bottom points match up, it actually comes out pretty easily to do this. So once I get that, I'm going to connect the dots, and I figured this is the size we want and the shape we want and the orientation to the wood grain. Then I'm going to come back through and actually mark all of these lines. And a lot of these lines I'm going to extend them past. This will make it far easier to cut because you're going to cut one of them all the way through. And then from that point on, you can just continue the circle around, cutting line from line. And so you have a starting point on each one. It means you're going to be starting at a weird angle, which is a good skill to learn how to do. You start it the exact same way, but you just have to force the saw a little bit more. Some of these pieces are big enough you can just lop them off and work from it. I do like to make a square across the face. This lets me know where to start the saw and make sure that it is indeed square. And that comes out pretty well on this. I moved over to using this hard point saw. I've used this more and more for just rough cutting, where I don't really care how the finish is on it. I just want to do quickly. And for cross cutting, those hard point saws are very, very fast and very, very efficient. And I don't care about messing them up. I can really crank into them and turn up the speed because I'm not worried about messing up the saw. Once I do, it's $10 for another one. Though I do have a video coming up soon where I'm going to be working on one of those. So stay tuned because I've been having a little bit of fun with it. So let's move back to this project. We're going to be chamfering these corners. The top edge I'm going to do with a relatively heavy chamfer. This is before I got the new chamfer sled, and it's really easy to do them just freehand. You don't have to have something that can guide them perfectly, but having a chamfer sled actually does make it a lot easier. We're going to get rid of all the marks on the top, running over it with a card scraper and cleaning up the surface, making it nice and smooth all the way across. And it's amazing what you can do with a card scraper, especially when you get these little curls. We want to have posts on the back. There need to be 6 of them that will basically create a curtain around the back, standing in for the theater. And we need to drill holes near each corner where we're going to put in a 1/4-inch rod. So I figured out where are these holes and then started stepping them off with dividers, making sure that they were evenly spaced. The actual placement of the holes doesn't matter as much as making sure they're even and accurate along the outside so that they all have the same spacing between them. Then once we have that set up, I'm going to bring in the brace and bit, and I've got a depth stop on there so all of them go to the exact same depths down below. If you want to see a video of that, I have a whole video where I go through my boarding process, where I talk through different braces, different bits, as well as the depth stops I use and why I use all of those. I'll try and leave a link to that down below, but I'll probably forget. So yeah, just search for Wood by Wright boring tools and you'll find it. So we're going to cut off 6 of these rods all the same length, and these will then go into the holes that were drilled into the base. And for these, we need to actually put little holes in the top so that we can put in these brass rods. These brass rods are going to be what actually holds the curtain. And then once we get those in, we can figure out how long these brass rods need to be and then cut them all down. Oops, I split that one. I want to drill these holes in and make them so that they don't go all the way through, because I don't want the brass rod to come out the other side. They actually meet in the middle. To fix that one we split, just a little bit of super glue, clean it up, and we're good to go. So these brass rods go on here, and then you can see how they fit between them, and then we can hang a curtain from that. We also want to do a little decoration at the top, so we're going to be putting rubber duckies up there. Why rubber duckies? Because they are significant to Luke and Krista, who we're making this for. There's a lot of little significant things to their relationship in here. Figuring out exactly where the holes go for the brass rod is relatively easy. I'm going to put one in, put it exactly where it is, put the other end in, and then squeeze them, and that puts a little dimple where I can come back and then drill the hole. And I'm just going to drill it down to that depth, just a little bit to hold it in. For the actual connection of all these, originally I was planning on just using a little bit of super glue to hold it in. But after talking with Luke, we decided that actually it's better just let everything be friction fit. That makes it really easy if it needs to be taken apart to move or shape, and we can work with it. For actually holding the watch, we want to create a little heart ring. So I printed out a heart about the size I wanted, and we're going to bend that out of brass rod. For the ducks, I went on things.com, and we printed off ducks, and this would make it very easy to then bring those out and drill them and put them in the top. I'm thinking about doing a video here soon about using a 3D printer in woodworking, because I use it more and more. So as those ducks are printing, we're going to come back to this brass rod. And here is where I made a beginning mistake. I want to bend it in half so that the center point of the heart comes out, and we're going to have a hook on the end of it. So I'm going to squeeze them together and then bend it over and then crush this in. And this actually creates a hook for the watch to hang on. But then I realized the watch loop that it would actually go into is a little bit too small for this. And one of the things with brass or bronze is that it's very, very easy to work harden. If you bend it around, it hardens and doesn't quite work right. So after a little bit of playing with it, we figured out how to hang it, but it just wasn't quite the way I wanted it. So I thought, let's widen it out and give it some space. And that actually worked out really well. I wanted a spot for that dimple of the button to hang through, and now it actually hangs the way I want it to. So we can then start bending the heart. So this is the tip of the heart where it all hangs from. And then we can bend out the two lobes. But as soon as I start bending out those two lobes, then we want to run into a problem. Because, you'll see that in a moment. So that's how it will hang. But then the heart will come around, and then the bottom tips of the heart will then go into the wood. So you have this free-formed brass heart. So I can set it on the pattern and start bending it around. But around this point, we ran into a little bit of issue. I can get one of them pretty close, and then I thought, I'm just going to hand bend the other one, and I'm going to grab the other side and bend it over, and that middle point just snapped. It work hardened, and so that's one of the things with brass. What you could do is actually heat it up and then quickly plunge it into water and quickly cool it, and unlike steel, that will actually soften it so that it won't break. But I didn't do that, and so it broke. And so we redesigned the plan. I thought, there's no reason for it actually needing to be connected to the top. It's just a delicate stand, and so we're going to leave the two halves of the heart separate so that they're connected through the watch. And we thought, that's kind of symbolic. Two halves of a relationship come together, and we'll work with that. It was intended, right? So I want to figure out what hole I need to drill to put this in, and then figure out where do we actually want it. Originally, the thought was we'll put it right in the middle of the stand, but it didn't look right because then there was a lot of stage in front, and so we wanted him to come downstage a little bit. So we're going to drill two holes for the brass to fit in, and then we can work them down in and bend them around. We did a lot of little tweaking to just try and make the heart be the same on both sides and hang from it, and actually worked out really well. We did a lot more little cleanups on it just to make it sharp and the way we want it. And I was actually really happy with it. The tips on these, we ground them down to make them similar, and then I came in with a file and smoothed them out. So now we need to make the curtain. I've done quite a bit of sewing in my life. So I have 2 different sewing machines, but I could do it by hand, but I'm not gonna. So we made these small little curtains that go in between each one, had a space at the end. They were a bit more fluffy than I was originally intending, and a bit more space on them, but we worked it down, and I think they'll work out well, especially if we came in and increased them a bit more and made pleats in the curtain itself. Back to the duckies. Once they are printed off, we need to clean off the brim on the bottom and shape them a bit. And then we thought the gold filament wasn't quite gold enough, and we wanted it to be a little bit more of a dark bronze. So we ended up actually spray painting them all with a metallic bronze. Worked out pretty well. We need to drill a 1/4-inch hole in the bottom of each one, and then this will fit into the actual the top of each rod. And then we can clean them all up with a bit of sandpaper, get rid of any of the imperfections, paint them, and good to go. For the finish, we're going to do a high-tech, highfalutin homemade boiled linseed oil. This is a white oak plank, and I just love how the amber color comes out on it, and it just soaks it down beautifully. Same thing for the the oak rods. Set those aside, let them soak up as much as they want, then wipe off the excess and apply paste wax. For actually painting the ducks, put some double-sided tape on them so that the spray paint wouldn't blow them away. And we put, I think it was 3 coats of a light spray paint for each one. I'm going to wipe off all the excess boiled linseed oil, and then we can apply paste wax. This is a homemade paste wax. I actually sell it on my website if you want to buy some of it. And it's I have a whole video on how you can make it yourself. So if you want to see the recipe and make it yourself, you can do that as well. But it's boiled linseed oil and wax, and that's really all you need. If you want to make it a little bit thinner like this, you can add a little bit of a thinner of your choice, and then we're going to put it in, let it sit for a while, and then polish it off. It just kind of fills the pores and gives it a nice glossy sheen. After that, it's time to put it together and see how this thing actually looks. Putting these curtains on was a bit more challenging than I expected. Just kind of running them all through, and the brass runner running in, and they never quite hung the way I wanted them to. They're going to take a bit of work to put in pleats and make them look pretty, but just like that, we've got it. And I actually kind of like how this came out. The whole symbolism and everything that went into it, I think this is kind of cool. Something fun to try and have a good time in the shop. So there you have it. This is a watch stand, and it has a really interesting story. Back before YouTube, I actually was a technical director at a theater, and Luke, and my videographer, and his now wife actually both worked for me, and they met on stage while working backstage. And so it was kind of a fun thing. Well, for their 10th anniversary, Krista bought Luke the watch, and he thought it'd be a fun idea to make a stand for it. So we wanted to make something that kind of was like their backstory. So it has 10 sides for the 10 years they've been married. The ducks on top, we actually used to hide ducks around the set on stage, and they were decorating their wedding with them. And so it was just kind of one of those things. We have a bit of a theater with ducks, and a fun little way to display it. And I really like how this came out. It's kind of a different little project. No, I won't be putting plans out on this because I don't think anyone else wants to make one. But I really enjoyed this, and I want to say a huge thank you to Luke for being a good friend and coming out and shooting videos for me every other week. So thank you. And as well as to Krista. You're also a great friend too. So yeah, I hope you like this. There's some fun ideas. May have given you some inspiration. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Throw your comments, snide remarks, and other comments down below. Thank you. That helps out the channel. Anytime you comment down there, you know what it does. It helps us. The algorithm, YouTube, you hear at the end of every video, but thank you for doing it. It means a lot. And if you want to go even farther, all of these names over here, those are fantastic, wonderful, gorgeous, and benevolent people over on Patreon. Because honestly, without patrons, we wouldn't exist. We are completely sponsored by you. I don't do sponsorships on the channel or run other ads because I want it to be able to say what I want to say and do what I want to do without having other people getting in the way. So thank you for that. And if you want to help out with that and keep this channel going, then think about becoming a patron or click the little thank you button down below. Thank you. That means a lot. And I think that'll do it for now. Until next time, have a wonderful day. When I look at this, it makes me want to do this. Well, it's just a little duck.